There are a bunch of affordable 2011s now. I've taken 3 of the most popular 2011s and put them head to head in this video. There's tons of objective data resolved in a shootout, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the Humble Marksman channel. I'm David, and today we're going to be looking at the Springfield Armory Prodigy, the Live Free Armory Apollo 11, and the Girsan 2311 pistol. But first, for all you dads out there, it's 2024. This year's going to be our year. What's the worst thing to hear your surgeon say during the operation? Literally anything. Before we go any further, I do want to disclose any sort of relationship. Nobody's paying any money for me to do this except for the video sponsor, which is Gun Mag Warehouse. I bought my own ammo for the video. The Girsan 2311 I bought. The Live Free Armory Apollo I bought. And this Springfield Armory Prodigy I bought, although this one was one of the launch models that they sent to me. Welcome back to the range, guys. This is the 3rd time I've tried to film this video, and I'm running out of time at the range. But we're gonna get it done for you. We're looking at 3 of the more affordable options between the Girsan 2311, the Live Free Armory Apollo, and the Springfield Armory Prodigy. Now, let's just run through the quick features of what you're getting with these. I've done full reviews on all of these. The Girsan got a 1,000-round review, as did the Live Free Armory, and both guns had to make trips back to the factory. Live Free Armory came back demimmed. The gun is basically 100% ever since it came back. Girsan, they just gave me a couple magazines and said, good luck, go with God, basically. Don't know if it's going to hold up in the test. We'll find out. Anyway, the big features, I mean, the $1,500 price point is the Prodigy, and I did the 4 1/4 and not the 5-inch so that there is something to compare the 2311 against. This also has the fattest profile barrel of any of the guns on the table, so I think that it's going to be a pretty good comparison to the Live Free Armory, which is the 5-inch gun. But the big features that you are getting when you go with the Prodigy over the other two is the AOS optic system that will allow you to use full-size optics. Both of the other 2 guns are RMS footprint optics only. So I've got the Zero Tech Thrive HD on there, and I've got the Siley Cat Pro, which is a pretty solid little dot for not a lot of cash. The trigger pulls, if I were to rank them sort of in order, I would say that this guy is bringing up the rear. He barely qualifies with about an 8-pound single action trigger pull. Not great. And number 2 is about a 5.5-pound trigger pull on the Prodigy. Again, it's kind of mim everything with the gun. And the Apollo 11, which is not mim everything in the gun, but the way the trigger comes set up is just much nicer with that red dirt trigger. It's the closest to a real like 2011 style trigger that you would, you know, spend a bunch of money on and be proud of. So it's got the nicest quality trigger, and that red dirt trigger shoe is amazing. As far as grip modules are concerned, this is a 3D printed grip module. Doesn't quite feel like other 2011 grip modules. It's got the short blunt beaver tail, kind of like the staccato guns do. It's got a really light recoil spring. The Prodigy has kind of a brilliant module, honestly. I really like the grip module on the Prodigy. It is really grippy when you squeeze down on it, and it's just not too bad when you just kind of rub against it. It's a really functional texture. The ergos on the gun are nice. I'm a fan of the Prodigy's grip module, and the Girsan grip module honestly is pretty good. It's got, you know, aggressive checkering on the front and back strap. It's got aggressive checkering on the sides. It's probably the most aggressive grip module of the guns on the table, but it needs it because it's the only aluminum frame gun here. So we're just gonna run through the practical using the shot timer and see where we land on this. So let's look at how these guns behave in recoil with the slow motion camera. First things first, the 2311 with the aluminum frame was the most violent of any of the guns to shoot. It's not particularly violent, it just jumps more because of the aluminum frame. It is far and away the lightest gun that we had out there. Also being the 4 1/4 inch gun, there's just not a lot of it there. So it is kind of penalized by not having a bull barrel, but the gun is pretty accurate. The Live Free Armory Apollo has a very unique style of recoil that I don't have on any other 2011. It actually dwells with the slide at lockback longer than any other 2011 I shot. When I put these side by side, you're going to be blown away by just how long that it remains open, and you can perceive it when you're shooting the gun. Now the Springfield Armory Prodigy, because it has the heaviest cone barrel, it's not even a cone barrel, man, it's just a straight bar that they've milled straight back. So it is easily the nicest shooting of the guns on the table and probably the most stable of the 3. The 5-inch gun is even more cartoonish, but you know,
there it is. Now, if you look at them all side by side, you can see that the Live Free Armory Apollo is going to dwell at the open. The Girsan is actually the fastest recoiling of the guns. So you can see it springing back into battery the quickest, but the Prodigy to me came across as most stable. Some of that's going to be balanced and some of that is likely due to the big fat bull barrel inside. But now I need to tell you about Gun Mag Warehouse. You shouldn't shop at Gun Mag Warehouse because I think I know you at this point. You've been watching these videos for a while and I've been watching you. Not really, I can't do that. I can't see through your screen. I've tried. You're just the kind of guy who likes to collect vintage Cabbage Patch Kids, and Gun Mag Warehouse doesn't sell those. You know, and if that's not you, then it's probably just those old Beast War Transformer toys. You're just trying to stack those up. Gun Mag Warehouse doesn't have any of those either. Some of you guys are just trying to collect all the original Furbies that were all the rage that one Christmas, and they don't sell any of those. All that to say is, Gun Mag Warehouse is basically useless and you shouldn't shop there. I'm not gonna tell you their website, so don't go to their website, absolutely don't. Don't look for great values on shooting related stuff, because that's all they have, and that's not what you want, so don't go to Gun Mag Warehouse.
Here we are at the 7-yard line. I'm gonna go ahead and spoil this for you. The results are gonna be basically the same across all 3 guns, but shooting them back to back to back is gonna give us our first look at how the guns, feel in hand. So we'll start the show with the Girsan 2311. That didn't go into battery. I don't know that it likes this ammo. We'll find out. Shot timer is good. Here we go. That's fantastic. As far as those holes, they're about a paster width apart in 270. I can definitely run faster than that. Got on the trigger a bit early, swinging onto the center target, so that's 1 Charlie. Total 277 again. The gun feels honestly not bad to shoot. You don't notice when you're shooting in anger the 7-pound trigger, but we'll patch them up and try it again. All right, 7-yard line with the Live Free Armory. Let's see what happens. The dot is not bright enough. Hold on, the sun came out. Oh, that's all the dot we get. Yeah, this thing isn't keeping up with the Texas sun. In the winter, it was fine, but the bright kind of early spring sun, this thing's starting to wash out. Well, here we go. Threw 1 Charlie on the right target, but that is a 296 just because I'm having a hard time picking up this dot. So poor Mr. Apollo is not getting it done because it's dot. All right, 1 Charlie total. That's a 298 again. Yeah, this poor thing is gonna just pay a penalty for that dot all day. All right, Mr. Prodigy. Now the Prodigy has the benefit of the biggest window, but that is a benefit that is unique to the Prodigy against the other guns, so it's appropriate that it is exploited in this test, honestly. All right, here we go. Oh, dude, this gun shoots nice. 283 there, all alpha. Let's go again. All right, I got lazy in the middle target and I threw a Charlie wide to the right. I kind of over-rotated the transition in a 279. So that's Prodigy, I think is gonna probably carry this one. The recoil impulse is just much, much smoother, much nicer. That grip module is so ideal. Despite the heavy-ish trigger, it was fantastic. So 1 Charlie from the Prodigy. Live Free Armory at the 15-yard line. This is gonna be where the small differences start to kind of come out. Let's see what happens here. It's gonna be even more evident at 25. Ooh, might have winged that no shoot. That might be on the line, but I think it's gonna score for both. That was me. Well, it's a 355 that time. The gun feels good. I didn't have the back of my hand pressed into it like I needed to, which caused the shot to come down. I did capture all the alphas on the center, but I think I'm gonna pick up that no shoot. I'll show you guys what I mean. 15-yard line, Live Free Armory, 4 alpha, 4 alpha, 1 no shoot, 3 alpha, 1 Charlie. All right, here we go, Mr. Prodigy, 15-yard line. All right, I didn't have my hand planted in that one, so I threw 2 Charlies. I hooked the trigger to the right, then a 333. All right, I think I captured all the alphas on the right target. There is 1 Charlie high on the center, and it looks like 3 to the right on that first target, but it feels good. A lot of points dropped there, but I still think that probably is the best shooting gun of the lineup. This trigger is gonna hurt us, but let's see what happens. Honestly, this grip is so easy to get a hold of. That's a 362. This grip is so easy to get a hold of, it just stays planted, so the bad trigger is not as big a factor as I would have imagined. Let's do it again. Honestly, because the grip is so good, it overshadows how bad the trigger is. I think that is 1 Charlie on the center target total. That second run was a 338, so it punches over its weight to be as bad as the triggers this got. Backing up to the 25-yard line, Live Free Armory is in the hole. Its grip module, I would say, is what's probably causing it the most grief. Despite having the best trigger, it just has this kind of 3D printed deal that doesn't quite seat in my hand, like specifically around the web at the back. Just everything doesn't quite fit like the other 2 guns. So at this distance, I would imagine the Prodigy is going to have a big benefit with a full-size optic with a big reticle, because I'll be able to quickly see where the dot is on target, specifically on that partial middle target. But so far, it hasn't paid dividends necessarily. Let's see how we go. All right, that's a 399. Very conservative, but I don't want to throw any more penalties. All right, I think point capture is really good on that. Let's go look at those hits, but that's a 430, so that's even slower, but I think it's got most of the points, if not all of them. Prodigy, 25 yards, 2 Alpha, 2 Charlie. I only shot at this, okay, that bottom one is bad pace, so that's 2 Alpha, 2 Charlie. All right, 4 Alpha. 25 yards, let's see if Mr. 8-pound trigger can hang. Let's go. Honestly felt okay. The erratic ejection was clear. That threw straight to 12. Oh, it's 431 on time. Let's go again. Ooh, that's a delta for sure on that last shot. I saw that dot pull off the target, and that's due to the really heavy target. So that grip, as long as you're gripping it well, helps. But good God, if there was ever a candidate for some TLC, it is definitely that Girsan. But let's go look at those hits. Girsan, 25-yard line, 2 Alpha, 1 Charlie Delta, 3 Alpha, 1 Charlie, 2 Alpha, 1 Charlie, 1 Delta. Can't get this unique grip seated here. This thing has a very interesting recoil impulse. I don't know what's going on. Oh, did I hook that into a Delta? It looks like I did. Okay, all right, that's a 424. All right, unload, show clear. The Live Free Armory just has a very unique recoil impulse. I kind of like it, honestly. I wish the grip was fatter like the other 2 guns, but let's go look at those hits. I definitely threw some Charlies, but that's a much better run than we got at 15. Live Free Armory, 25-yard line, got 3 Alpha, 1 Delta, 1 Alpha, 3 Charlie, and then 3 Alpha, 1 Charlie.
Real quickly, just talking about holster compatibility, because with the 2011 grip modules, it can affect how they fit in holsters. So the 5-inch Springfield Prodigy, no problem, fits in the regular 5-inch 2011 holsters. Live Free Armory Apollo, see, you can see that this particular 2011 holster doesn't quite work for it. I can force it in, but it's a much tighter fit than the other guns based on the grip module. And similarly, The Girsan 2311 fitting in this holster, it kind of works, but like the slide feels fatter. It's rubbing harder on the slide. So all these guns are going to be a little bit different, and getting the holsters to work with 2011s in general is kind of an experimental sort of thing. Be aware that any of these holsters that are for 2011s can likely be made to work, but may not work right out of the box. Another thing to be aware of on kind of the 2011 stuff is the mag wells that come on the guns. Depending on how wide or how flared and relieved the mag wells are, that can affect magazine compatibility from a base pad perspective. So if you're using like flush length base pads, you may run into issues getting the mags to lock in on some of the guns with mag wells. It's the way it is with mag wells. It's not unique to 2011s. It's all guns with mag wells.
So with the shooting portion sort of out of the way, I have to say that I probably would give it to the Prodigy. It's the softest shooting due to the fact the bull barrel on it is absolutely massive. The 5-inch gun is even more cartoonishly soft to shoot. The typical stuff you like to do to 2011s, these things can be pretty silly. Number 2 is going to be the Live Free Armory. Now, the trigger, honestly, is pretty good. You probably can just be at peace with that. It probably is the grip module is what I would start to look at as far as getting one of these things ready to race. That's probably where I would put my attention first. The small optics, you know, there are footprints with these small optics that do work, like the Shield RMSX. I've got a video on that. That's actually a pretty cool optic. So if you were trying to look into sport shooting with one of these, that's a way you could go. And the Girsan honestly surprised me. It's behind the Live Free Armory due to the terrible trigger and the fact it's super lightweight. But I was very surprised by how little the really bad trigger, I mean, the trigger on this is bad. The ejection on this is the worst of the 3 by a good bit. There's plenty of inexpensive 1911 stuff going on with this gun that would need to get addressed if you were to seriously look at it for, you know, sport shooting or something like that. But the grip module on it is so good, it almost makes up for that trigger, almost. It's better than I expected it to do. The ejector needs tuning, however, if you want it to run reliably. What we didn't have happen today is brass rebounding off the optic and getting caught in the chamber. In the 1,000-round review, we had that happen quite a bit. So there's that. It kept all the magazines in, so that's good too. So I'm curious, based on what we saw here today, which of these guns would be your preferred option. So let me know in the comments.